We've got to thank God every minute of every day. Where is the show? What is going on here? What have I done? Hold on, Joe. Let me get this thing straight, Joe. Let me get this thing straight, man. What is going on here, man? Where is it? Yeah, we got it. What the heck? There we go, Joe. I think I got it now. I apologize for everybody that's watching in the back room back there. We got to thank God every minute of every day. It's your boy, One Live Stu Ryan Stewart, happy to be joined by none other than the Georgia, South Carolina Hall of Famer himself, the Heisman runner-up in 1999 to Ron Dane, an award that he did not deserve. We're happy to have in the huddle with Joe Ham, Mr. Joe Hamilton himself. Good morning, sir. How you feeling today, Joe?
I'm feeling outstanding, Stewart. I'm feeling outstanding, brother.
I can't apologize. I can't apologize enough for botching the start of the show today, man. My apologies, man.
You're talking to a quarterback, man. I've been accustomed to audibles. It's nothing but a small audible, and it was not fourth down. It was first down, so we got second, third. We're ready to rumble. That can't stop. One mishap can't stop anything, man. But I know a few quarterbacks that stopped something this past weekend that I don't know.
I can't wait for us to get into it.
I
can't wait for us to talk about that. Quarterback play is very important. A buddy this past weekend sent me an article where Richard Jefferson from the Puppet Factory from ESPN, where he talked about how quarterback is not the most important position in sports. How having a great point guard or having a superstar basketball player is more important than the quarterback is, because this basketball player will be on offense and or defense. And I responded to the buddy that sent me this, and this is in the huddle with Joe Hamilton. I'm One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. I'll give you guys a setup here in a second. I responded to the buddy that sent me that blasphemous meme and article. I said, how many teams have won championships that didn't have a superstar point guard or a superstar center or a superstar forward on their team? Let's see. The Detroit Pistons come to mind. As good as Chauncey Billups was, as good as Ben Wallace was, as good as Rip Hamilton was, none of them were the superstars in the league during those championship runs. They still won titles.
Yeah. Go 2 years ago, Stewart, with the Boston Celtics.
Right.
Come on.
Just now.
That was wings. That was Jaylen Brown, and that was Jason Tatum being the superstars of that team with no superstar point guard. So, yeah, he can miss me with that. He can miss me completely with that.
It is in the huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I am One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. Every single Wednesday, we come to you to spend time with you and talk about sports. We dig a little bit deeper than Doug and I do. We try to get to more sports topics than Doug and I do. We have a really, really good time. And today I am beyond excited about all that we're going to talk about. But before we do that, quick reminder that every Monday and Thursday right here on the same platform, Stewart Media and Entertainment, Doug and I have the Two Live Stews experience. He's one of the stews, I'm the other. Together we come together to make the Two Live Stews. And when we make the Two Live Stews on Monday morning and Thursday mornings at 7 o'clock, live on YouTube, we're creating the Two Live Stews experience. We beg all of you guys to please like the show, subscribe to the show, pass the words to your friends and to your family to let them know that the gift of the Two Live Stews is still given. But this is a Wednesday. We will get to the Two Live Stews tomorrow morning. Before we jump into today's topics, Joe, and you have put together an incredible rundown for today's show. Simple question for you. I believe the young man's name is Alberto Mendoza.
Yes.
He was a backup quarterback to his brother Fernando Mendoza in Indiana this past week. We're going to talk about Indiana football a lot today. Don't get tired of us doing so. We got several points, got some things we got to question. We got to talk about the change of college football thanks to that coach that just won a national title. But Fernando Mendoza, the older brother of Alberto Mendoza, is about to go off into the NFL. As a Raider fan, I'm hoping we select him number 1 overall. Maybe we'll get into that. But his little brother that was in the same locker room coached by the same head coach, by the same quarterback coach, playing with the same players that just won a national title in Indiana football, Indiana Hoosier football. He's transferred to Georgia Tech and will be one of the quarterbacks competing, not the starter. We hadn't got that far yet. Don't go that far. He will be competing for the starting job to fill the shoes of one Mr. Haynes King that was everything at Georgia Tech for the last few years. I want your thoughts, Joe, before we get to today's topics, about your feelings on Alberto Mendoza joining the Yellow Jackets roster.
He doesn't move my needle at all. He does not move my needle at all, and here's why, Ryan Stewart. Now, I'll say this. I have firm trust and belief in my two former teammates, and my left guard, Brent Key, who's now the head coach, and my backup quarterback, and one of my really, really good friends as far as football knowledge, as far as ins and outs, and just talking about football things and personal things. I can go to George Guzgazzi to do. So I have to trust those guys, but this does not move my needle at all. And here's why. Why last season, or why in the transfer portal going on your national championship run, if you're at Indiana University and your head coach, Kirk Cignetti, why are you not begging Alberto Mendoza to stay? Why isn't he the incumbent to his brother there in Indiana? Why, even a couple of weeks ago, you heard about him, or they targeting another quarterback in the West Coast? Why are you overlooking him if he's that good? And I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying that he's not something that, can come in there and move the needle here at Georgia Tech, because he is a high school state champion. He does have pedigree. Indiana is a Division I.
Real quick,
Yes, sir.
two-time high school champion.
There you go. I love it. I love it.
Okay.
So I don't want to discredit that, but it have in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, y'all are easily letting this guy go. Y'all are recruiting on top. That's Indiana, that is, on top of Alberto Mendoza.
Okay.
Why?
Okay.
That would be my next question.
Okay.
And I'm so happy that we haven't heard from Brent Key, head coach Brent Key, and his staff that says that Alberto would be given the job.
He should not be given no job.
No, because we know that will be coaching malpractice. Let him get here in the spring and compete for a job. But that's my initial thought process right there, Stuart. Are we landing somebody that Indiana didn't want? Mm-hmm. Or he wanted to come back closer to home, and he always wanted to play closer to Miami than he is right now up in Indiana.
In the Huddle with Joe Ham, I'm One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. Joe has asked the question, why would Cignetti just let Alberto get up out of there like that? Why was he free to just come on down here? Why did they not insist that he not join the portal or go in the portal? Why did they not insist on keeping him? Sir, Cignetti has changed the game. We'll talk about that in a second. But one of the ways he's changed the game is because he had the oldest team in college football. Alberto Cignetti is not an old player. He's still a young player. Alberto Cignetti is still on the porch when it comes to hanging with the big dogs. If he jumps off the porch and urinates, he's liable to get some of that urination on himself because the weeds are high.
Yes.
His brother knew the tricks of the trade. His brother was groomed. His brother was more polished because he played at Cal before coming to Indiana, to the Indiana Hoosiers. So I don't know this to be a fact. I don't know who he was going to be competing against. I've read some names of players that Indiana are, I'm not even going to call it poaching. I've read the name of some
targeting.
I've read the name of some players that Indiana is stalking. I think these coaches are stalking these players now because they can, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but maybe Cignetti really said it's okay for you, Alberto, to jump in this portal and look for another home because we want the next guy that's closer to your brother. We want an older guy that's been there and has learned a few things, had some wins or experienced some losses. You haven't been groomed enough as of yet to be the next guy for us. We're going to look for someone else that's 22, 23, 24, or maybe even 25. Any thoughts on that, Joe?
Yeah, I love where you're going with that, Stu. However, Signetti is not a developer of talent. See, that's where I understand where you're coming from, but I don't want to agree with it because you're in a program that your brother was just in. You know the inside and out of this offense, the scheme, the audibles, your teammates, and at what point is Signetti going to go back to the old school way of building a program? Is this just his way of starting it up? Because eventually you can't just go out and every single year going to get you a transfer portal guy with a lot of experience. Who's to say he's going to get the guy like Fernando Mendoza, his older brother, that could come in and learn a system right away and have the moxie? You know about the pedigree. You've seen him in the locker room. You've seen him around other players. That is my whole point, is that you know all about Alberto Mendoza, and I'm not saying he walked. And I don't even know of Signetti and his staff wanted him to stick around. And it was his decision to say, no, I don't want to live. Because, again, what I just thought about, Stu, maybe he doesn't want to be in the shadow of his brother. Maybe he doesn't want to be having to live up to that hype of following a national champion, although it's his brother and a Heisman Trophy winner. With that being said, though, at some point he's going to have to get experience. Why not get experience in a program, in a system that you know? And when Georgia Tech's speaking on our behalf, we're getting an undeveloped guy. Right. We're getting a guy with no experience as far as starting. I know he has played in some mop-up duty and done some things behind Mendoza when the game was at hand. That's what I want to wonder. That's what I'm wondering. Is it Signetti saying you can go because we don't think you're the guy? He wanted to get out there really, really quickly, or Georgia Tech might have upped the ante in the pay. We have to put that. We have to put that in the scenario now that we never had before.
And again, neither one of us, you or I, have deemed this guy the next starter for the Yellow Jackets.
No, sir.
He is going to be in a fierce quarterback competition with our new offensive coordinator that has been in the National Football League, that has coached quarterbacks, that has coached tight ends, that has coached other players on the offensive side of the ball. My question to you is this. I don't want the people listening to In the Huddle with Joe Ham right now to think that you're downplaying the significance of a player that just won a national title. In your humble opinion, before we move on and talk about Signetti, in your humble opinion, does him being a player that has the same blood of a Fernando Mendoza in his body, does him being a player that just for the last year was being coached and tutored by Coach Signetti, who seems to be a mad scientist when it comes to football, does him being a part of a roster that just won a title in college football in the Big Ten, isn't that something that's positive for the locker room in Atlanta with Georgia Tech? Can't they use him as, you know, the picture of someone that's been there and done that? Hey, how did y'all practice? What did y'all do? What's some of the things you dealt with when y'all experienced losses or games that where you almost lost and found a way to win, like that Penn State game or that tough Iowa game? Give me your thoughts on the ability for Alberto Mendoza to be a difference maker and help Brent Key and Goose Ghazi be somewhat of a mentor on the field for these guys that have not won a championship, for these guys that has not played in a national championship, for these guys that has not played in a college football playoffs. I think this is a tremendous move for the positive for the Yellow Jackets.
Oh, my goodness, Stu. How do you want me to come after that? I mean, 2,000% correct what you're saying. 2,000% correct, because all the boxes with Alberto Mendoza, if he has any inkling of the blood or the moxie or the makeup that his brother possesses, he's going to be outstanding for the locker room. He's going to know what it takes. Without having seen him say hut hut in a Yellow Jacket uniform, I know what he brings to the table, that experience. And I like the way Georgia Tech is building it. You remember now that running back is Justice Hayes. Where did he come from? He came from the University of Michigan. And where was he before then? He came from the University of Alabama before then. So those guys know how how it goes. Not to say Georgia Tech had a problem in the locker room and didn't know how to practice, but the winning culture. We do know that Georgia Tech got up won 8 games and lost none 8 games into the season. What happened? Did it get too high? Did they start resting on their laurels and didn't know how to handle success? These guys would know how to handle success.
No question. It matters.
Especially Alberto. They'll be a little bit more mature when it comes to practice and when it comes to idle time and downtime, be prepared. All those things are nothing but pluses. And you know by being the backup, he knows how to handle adversity. He knows how to not be the guy, the first guy up, and being a role player. All those things infusing into a locker room. And this is one thing I always love. You don't want to have a meeting after the meeting. Meaning, if a head coach calls a meeting at 9 o'clock a.m. and he says and lays down the ground rule and what time you should be doing things and maybe what practice we're going to practice, maybe full pads when you think you should be in shells, or maybe you should be off and he wants to practice, he's not going to allow those guys to get distracted and have distractions as far as clicks. Those clicks are going to be nullified. They're going to galvanize the whole troop and say, this is what the coach wants. This is what he said. Let's go, let's go execute the plan that he laid forward. So it's nothing but a positive in that sense of the word, Stu. No doubt about it, in my opinion.
Let's go Jackets. In the Huddle with your boy, Joe Ham. I am One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. We do this every single Wednesday at noon. If we don't do the show at noon in the Huddle with your guy, Joe Hamilton, we will be on around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock on Wednesday nights. But every Wednesday we will be here unless for some reason we just can't make it. But prior to that, we'll let you know. A way you can always make sure that you do know is by liking and subscribing to the show. Joe Signetti pulled off the impossible. 2 years ago, they were hands down one of the worst college football teams in college football. 2 years ago, they ran through a college football season where they only lost 2 games. And now here I am sitting here and telling you that in the last 2 seasons, they are 27-2 in college football, where they've been a part of the college football playoffs twice. Signetti's literally changed the landscape of college football when it comes to coaching expectations. There will no longer be any excuses for these guys that come in and get this big money and they can't get it done. Please share your thoughts on the achievement that Coach Signetti has found himself achieving in college football.
A lot of coaches, they're clapping. They're happy for Signetti, but they're also saying, oh boy, I'm on deck. I'm on deck right now, and I have to make sure that I put that car in drive because I can't stand pat. I can't say this is a good season if we make it to the SEC championship, ACC championship, and we get to a bowl game. It's just not good enough. And I'm talking about teams doesn't have any championship pedigree. You don't have to look at teams now to say, well, we haven't won a championship in 10 years. What have you done for me lately? This is not the LSU that, okay, we hadn't won since 2019. We better start getting back on track. Or Alabama that Kalen DeBoer hasn't done it since Nick Saban left. No. Now you go to the Vanderbilts. Now you go to the Stanfords. Now you go to the Duke Blue Devils. Now you go to even throw us in there. But we have championship
Georgia Tech, Wake Forests. Yeah.
Now you throw everybody in there. What is your excuse? Because this is perennial losing territory when we think about Indiana football. And that's history. That's not us guessing about them. That's history. Now, you're going to tell me that Indiana has more resources than everybody else? No, they don't. They're taking advantage of what was given to them, what is available in scouting. Dare I say scouting in college football, Stu? Can I say scouting?
You most certainly can.
Can I say build a roster the right way?
You most certainly can.
Can I say divvy out the money to the right players and not having one lump sum go to a quarterback or one lump sum go to a defensive end or a wide receiver, but spreading that money out kind of evenly to build an entire roster that buys into my program? What he did and how he won is football 101, Stu. It's boring to when I tell you that they won the time of possession like they did all season. It's boring for me to tell you that they won the penalty game, that they had less penalties than Miami did and than any other opponent in the college football playoff during the season. It's boring when I tell you that they're going to run the ball more than you're going to run the ball. They're going to run it successfully and stop the run. That's too boring. It's too boring for me to tell you that they're disciplined. Because where's the flash? We want flash in this microwave society. They did not give us that. They gave us consistency, and it's going to be hard to beat. And dare I say, as I was doing my research or doing my thoughts or just put my thoughts together to talk to you this afternoon, Indiana's here to stay. They're here to stay. And I'm not talking about here to stay that they're going to be in the national championship here every year. They're here to stay because they have a coach that's not going to try to be like any other organization, any other program. He has a blueprint. He had a blueprint at Elon. He had a blueprint at JMU, James Madison. And he had a blueprint and a confidence coming in to Indiana when he said, I win.
Right.
You don't know, if you don't believe
Google me.
Outstanding.
Yeah. Coach Signetti has reset college coaching expectations. Okay. He's killed the rebuilding takes time excuse.
Killed it.
Coach Signetti's proved that you don't need 5 years. You need clarity, accountability, and you need belief. You don't need perfect recruits. I'm not waiting for a full roster that turns over. I'm not waiting for years of culture building talk. He's showing you that, hey man, those are all excuses, and now there's new expectations. Coaches are now judged on impact, not patience narratives. Sir, it's absolutely amazing how Signetti has set clear standards when it comes to practice and tempo and accountability, effort on every single rep. In that game on Monday night, you didn't see one guy making a tackle on any given play. You didn't see one running back running down the field by himself. You saw a team with him to create more blocking for that running back. Sir, culture is no longer something that you have to build later. It's something that you can install immediately because that's what Signetti has done. It's beautiful, man. I absolutely love it, man.
I absolutely love it as well. Stu, you mentioned culture, and one thing I always watch, I look for when somebody makes a mistake. I look for when somebody does not do their job. Did Indiana have some mistakes? Yes, they did.
Yes.
They had starts, missed tackles, frustration, not picking up assignment in the blitz protection, blown coverages, so to speak. And every time I looked at one of those players, they was doing this number after the mistake.
Yes, right.
Picking as though back.
There was a crucial illegal procedure or offsides on the offense at the end of that drive before the touchdown was scored by Mendoza when he dove over the line. The offensive tackle or offensive guard on the left side moved and backed them up 5 yards, which is ultimately why they ended up kicking a field goal and not getting the touchdown.
That's right.
But what did that offensive lineman do after that flag threw? He looked at the sideline and did this. That's on me. That's on me, coach. And he clapped. His old lineman started patting him on the back like it's okay. It was beautiful to see, man. He's provided or shown his team how you can have confidence without apologizing. Signetti did not ask for permission for his players to believe. He came in there like, listen, in his team, in his system, and in his staff, we're going to encourage you to simply believe. Don't look at logos. Look at what's in our locker room. That's all that matters. Hey, man,
you got me so fired up. Stu, let me carry you through a sequence that changed my thought process and what I love when coaches get a week or week and a half to prepare.
In the Huddle with Joe Hamilton. I'm your boy, One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart. He's Mr. Heisman runner-up himself, Joe Hamilton. Go ahead, Joe. I'm listening.
The wrinkles. You heard Signetti talk about now on the 4th and 5 quarterback draw. You heard him and Fernando Mendoza talk about they did not have that play in before. They didn't have that play in their game plan. They put that play in the game plan just for Miami, and it was going to be blocked a little different than your normal quarterback draw. And he also said on the third down play or third down call that they had a defense, so they called the defense that they put that draw in, and they thought it would work, and they were praying. Be in that defense again, Miami. Please be in that defensive again. So they gambled that the play they put in, the new wrinkle is called unscouted looks, meaning that if they watch all 12 or all 15 of the games that Indiana played, they would not have seen that quarterback draw.
They're not going to see it.
So now they put that in their back pocket. When do you pull it out? Right. You pull it out when you have the guts. You pull it out when you've studied film and you have a conviction.
It's a situational call. That's not. It wasn't going to work the first two plays of the game. It wasn't going to work to end the half. It wasn't going to work to come out of the half. It was a situational call in that red zone when they had to have it. We're going to give you this look, which is something, the look we've ran several times throughout the course of the game, but you've never seen this play all season. I love it.
And that's what you do when guys get together and pull all-nighters as a coaching staff and try to create more plays and try to create opportunities and scout and tendencies. Miami had a tendency to call that same coverage on fourth down. As a matter of fact, they were so confident in that call, they called it 2 straight downs.
Right.
And said, they said, please be in it this time. So that's the science I love about football these days, that you don't get that deep into knowing why a play is called, but it's the right play called at the right time. And oh, by the way, for people like me that says that Fernando Mendoza can't run, Fernando Mendoza doesn't have legs, that was a surprise, I bet, to Miami a little bit that they called it, because he didn't escape out of the pocket. He didn't ad lib, or he didn't make a extended type play, a design quarterback draw that they would do with dual threat quarterbacks.
I just cut the music off, man, instead of going to pay these bills. I want to stick around here for just another quick second. It is In the Huddle with Joe Hamilton. I am One Live Stew, Ryan Stewart. Don't forget that tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, you can catch the Two Live Stews on the Two Live Stews Experience right here on the very same platform. Before we get into the Big Ten, Joe, do you have to win multiple championships to build a dynasty in college football?
No, sir. And Stu, I've changed, man. Allow me to change, and that's what I appreciate about you. But because if I'm wrong, which I've been wrong on Mendoza, I've been wrong on Indiana this season. I didn't think they would be able to hold up a championship. But I've changed on this because let's take Indiana for an example. They were in the playoffs last year, Stu.
Right.
They won it this year, Stu. What if Coach Kirk Cignetti gets those guys back into the Final 8, the quarterfinals, or even the Final 4, or even back to the national championship, or just in the playoffs? Just me, would still consider that a dynasty. In 2026, this era, because I don't know if you're going to be in the era of going back-to-back anymore. I don't know if you're going to be in the era of guys perennially winning championships 3 out of 5 years or 2 out of 3 years. If they do, that's a complete nothing but domination. So what they've done and what they're putting together now, if he was to continue to just be or make noise in the Big Ten, all right, being in the championship or winning Big Ten titles and having his team represent the Big Ten in the college football playoffs, I think that's on the way of building the dynasty, in my opinion. It's not about holding up the trophies. What say you, brother?
I do think that a dynasty can be built one season at a time, over a period of time. But I think I agree with you wholeheartedly, 100%. Seeing college dynasties is pretty much a thing of the past right now. Mm-hmm. The transfer portal, these NIL deals, older players that have already served time in the military coming back to play college ball because they still got eligibility. We've already defended your country. You may have been in a war carrying an AK-47 around, throwing grenades, working cannons and driving tanks, and now you find yourself in a college locker room playing college football with college guys that's much younger than you. I don't know if that you ever be able to establish another dynasty. But what I do know is you can win in a dynamic way like Cignetti just did. But when you win in a dynamic way like Cignetti just did, you're opening yourself up to being poached and being stalked. People wanting your coach. People wanting your best players. People saying, wait a minute, if I could just get him.
Yeah, that's
and there's some players that are going to want to be a part of that winning culture in Indiana because they just came off of a national championship. They're going to want to stay there. But just like you mentioned, I don't think Cignetti begged Alberto Mendoza to stay. So there's players that he is going to say, okay, if you think you can leave and get better, if somebody's offering you more money, I welcome that. We've done the work when it comes to scouting to know who we can bring in that can give us a similar result to what you've done. It's different now. You're not bringing in players that you want to groom 2 or 3 years to put you in a position to find ways to win. You can bring in guys now that you think are system guys that will buy into your system.
That's right.
And do things the way that you want them to, that will allow you to not have to wait 4 or 5 years.
Man, you're right on. And let me clarify myself as well now. What happened to Michigan or is happening to Michigan, they blew their opportunity, in my opinion. They're going to have to start over if they want it to be a dynasty. So let me be clear, because Michigan won that national championship, and here it is this year, they missed the playoffs. Right. So now you already interrupted that. Last year, when I'm talking about Indiana, they were in the playoffs, capitalized this year as winning the national championship, and to sustain that, they have to get back in to keep that going, right? So I'm not talking one and done and, pop your head in there every now and then. Sustain excellence as far as being in the mix, giving yourself a chance. And I say one more thing, Stu.
Please.
They are checking the boxes now. When you say that, other teams are going to poach their players, I understand. Other teams are going to poach their coaches, I understand.
Stalk them. They're going to be stalked.
They're going to be stalked. And check this out, Stu. But now Indiana might possess a number 1 overall pick. Indiana might possess a DB that's going in the first round in Ponds. They might possess, some wide receiver Surratt and those guys that might be drafted. So now you can say, yes, I can go to Indiana and get developed, and I can make myself into, or I can be developed into a draft pick now.
Right.
3 years ago, we were talking about Indiana and draft pick. What do you have to think about? Right. Randall and Michael Penix Jr., but he's boasting Washington, not Indiana. So they're going to have another feather in their cap, so to speak, that, you can come here and make it. Look, we have the number 1 overall pick. Right. So what are you talking about here? Potential, yeah.
I know what Florida State is known for. I know Michigan does this. I know what Ohio State has done. Yes. But real quick, y'all did see that we had a DB go top 15, top 10. Y'all did see that the first quarterback taken off the board, whether it's first pick or not, was Fernando Mendoza. Y'all did see that, right? I mean, sir, talking about Ponds and how he could possibly be a top 10 cornerback taken, that's one reason why I really liked what Indiana just did. Joe, their players mentally and fundamentally were sound. They were expecting things to happen. They had done their scout. They knew their scouting report. They knew the plays that could be made. When Ponds made the interception that finished the game, he was in a trail technique, and he knew good and well he did not have to be on top of that receiver. He was looking for a back shoulder throw because he was on that left side of that receiver looking back already.
I have help on the top.
He was expecting the play that he was going to pick off, and he did.
It's one thing about being in position and watching film, and there's another thing about making the plays when it comes your way.
Right.
You talk about falling for the banana in the tailpipe. Carson Beck did.
He did.
Carson Beck went to a single receiver side that was in cover 2, with nothing to threat that underneath cornerback to have him bite up in the flats at all. That was a mistake on Carson Beck, but he got baited into that mistake. Help me out with the wide receiver, and I want to call his name because I want to give him his flowers because it was just unbelievable. We call it a push crack. Okay. We call it a push crack. Miami was in man-to-man, and when you saw him do a little juke route on his side of the ball, and Indiana had a long run, I think it's 18-yard run. He ran his DB off, and then he went inside and knocked in deep cleat, ear-hold, what we called it. Yeah. Ear-hold that safety that wasn't expecting it because why? We're going to leave that corner to tackle because corners doesn't tackle as well as safeties does.
Right.
So what we're going to do, we're going to push crack him, leave him, and then we're going to get the threat, which was the safety, well coached, well designed, and what the corner do? Missed the tackle. I mean, well coached, man. Well coached, well executed. And not to say other teams are not well coached and they don't execute well. Not like what we saw the entire season from the Indiana Hoosiers, brother.
Before we get out here and pay some bills and jump into a little bit of NFL conversation, we've mentioned the Big Ten and their prowess the past few years a couple of times already on today's show. And this is In the Huddle with Joe Hamilton. I'm One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. Joe, we got to give the Big Ten their credit. Winning the last 3 championships, Michigan, then Ohio State, now Indiana. We got to give the Big Ten their credit. You and I are ACC guys, but when it comes to East Coast football, the football down here in the South, we all pound our chest proudly about the SEC and how strong they are and how they've been a juggernaut in college football the last few decades. But we got to give the Big Ten some respect, Joe. Please take a second to do that before we pay some bills.
Yeah, I'm going to tell Joe Hamilton to be quiet when I say that the SEC had 6 teams in. So what? No teams made it to the finals. So you top heavy. I mean, you're top heavy. So we don't want to go in depth. Yes, SEC, you're deep. Yeah, you can go 14, 15 teams that SEC can battle each and every week. They beat up on each other. Yeah. 3 straight years, there's a different Big Ten champion. 3 straight years. You want any parity? That's parity. And those are big. So those are 2 blue bloods in Ohio State and Michigan that can compete with any conference. And then out of nowhere, imagine Vanderbilt in the SEC wins one. Imagine Duke in the ACC wins one. That is what the Big Ten just accomplished this year. Give them their flowers, and I will. I'll start off by saying I think they own the law of the land, let of the land in the football realm right now because the last 3 champions have been from the Big Ten.
Yeah. Bottom line, you can't dismiss a conference that finishes the job. The simple truth is college football playoff games are trench games, and the Big Ten lives there in the trenches. There's a respect factor because beating up on each other all season doesn't mean weakness. It means quality competition. And the reality is this is no longer a regional conference. It's a national superpower because of what we've seen. And 2 more points. Why it matters. By the time the Big Ten teams reach college football play, they're already battle tested like the SEC used to be. And a message to the nation that's listening to us right now, development beats hype when it matters the most. Look, man, the Big Ten has proven it can win championships, dominate the trenches, survive the playoff grind, and evolve with modern game play all at the same damn time. It's a beautiful thing, man.
I know you're going to go to break on this, and I don't want to hold you up because you might want to hold up the break, but I want to just ask you this. In 2 seasons.
No, if we didn't have so much good NFL to get to, we could stay on this for 2 or 3 hours. But what took place last weekend has to be discussed and talked about.
In 2 seasons, my brother, in 2 seasons, can I dare say, or I'm asking, Cignetti, has he taken over Dabo Swinney, best coach in college? Has he taken over Ryan Day, best coach in college? Has he taken over Kirby Smart, best coach in college? And now I know Kirby Smart, he has 2 national championships. I know Dabo Swinney has 2. I know Ryan Day has 2.
What have you done for me lately?
So I'm just saying on the mindset of what you and I can see on the sideline and what kind of job he does coaching, this guy's got to be up there. This guy's got to be up there with a short resume as far as being in Power 4. But dare I say that he might be up there with one of the best college coaches right now. And I'm talking the best college coaches.
The Georgia Bulldogs to date are an afterthought.
What?
I'm not saying that because I'm not saying that because we're Yellow Jackets. I'm not saying that because we're Yellow Jackets, but I'm saying that because you would see the Indiana Hoosiers players make plays or have bad plays, and they've taken on the character of Cignetti. Cignetti doesn't get all hype when something good happens. Cignetti doesn't get all downtrodden and pissed off when something bad happens. He stays monotone. Mm-hmm. And you didn't see his players openly expressing their feelings after good plays or bad plays. They know they had a game to play. The calm demeanor of their coach has taken over and it was adopted by his players. All those guys you've already mentioned, you can see Kirby Smart throw a hat 5 times in one game. You can see Ryan Day spitting and cursing our players on the sideline. Joe, you could see Sharon Moore, even though he's no longer the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, you can see him crying during a post-game press conference.
I did it for you.
Right. Not Signetti.
Man.
So, yeah, man, he's the top dog right now.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to say that because of what he recently did, and not just recently as in this season in the college football playoffs, recently as in the last 2 years. His team was a powerhouse for the last 2 seasons. He beat Ohio State 2 times. He whooped up on everybody in college football playoffs, no matter who they were or the clout that they came in there with, and he did it all while staying like this. He's the big dog. He's the big dog right now, and he's the guy that everyone's going to be scouting. Everyone's going to be looking for mentorship. Everyone's going to be asking questions to get his answers. It is the Indiana Hoosiers. And let me end with saying this before we pay some bills and jump into to the NFL. It's not guaranteed that he gets back next year because of the amount of turnover that is going to take place, not just within his organization, but in all of the top organizations, in all of the bottom organizations. We got raided in Atlanta at Georgia Tech. But while being raided and losing premier players and coaches, I feel like Brent Key has brought in replacements that are better than the players that have left.
Mm-hmm.
I think he brought in an offensive coordinator in Goose that is better than Faulkner, who has left. I question Faulkner sometime when it comes to in-game situations and
cuteness
and being too pretty. I think Goose is going to be a hard-nosed football that is going to adapt and change on the fly. I'm not waiting until halftime to make a change or change a package. It needs to be done now before the next series, like Signetti does. So, yeah, man, I'm excited about where college football is headed. We're seeing parity at the top and at the bottom. You can't come in here saying it's going to take a big dominating logo to get it done.
No way.
What was just done in the last 2 years with an organization that was one of the worst in college football.
And I have no problem, Stu, and I have no problem with how it's done both years, back-to-back years. We know that Ohio State bought a championship.
They did.
Okay, $20 million, that is documented. $20 million.
Yep.
Indiana didn't buy it.
Yep.
They didn't buy it that way. Now they went and got other players in the NIL and transfer portal.
And they spent money. They spent money too.
Yes, but they didn't buy $20 million. You can't go out and say they bought their players.
Agree. Okay. Up next in the huddle with Joe Ham on One Life Stu Ryan. Stu, thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, pass the word. We will read a couple of messages before we get out of here. We're already making plans right now to go over 1 o'clock. It's okay. We got a lot to get to. We'll jump into some NFL talk up next. Y'all keep it locked to your guys, the Stews, One Life Stew that is, and Mr. Heisman, runner-up himself, Joe Hamilton, is in the huddle with Joe Ham. Keep it locked. Listen, I played in the NFL. I've taken enough shots to last a lifetime. And let me tell you this, taking a shot just to lose weight, that's not a smart play. That's why I roll with Brain IQ, the all-natural weight chews, cut cravings, boost metabolism, and sharpen focus. No needles, no chemicals, no crash. Just results you can chew on. And Brain IQ is not just about weight chews. They've got a full lineup of all-natural products to keep your mind sharp, your body fueled, and your health on point. Skip the needles, choose natural. Order now. BrainIQHealth.com/REF/1LiveStew. Brain IQ Chews. Smart, natural, built for results. It's in the huddle with Joe Ham. I'm One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. Thank y'all for being here. We really appreciate y'all more than you know. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you pass the word about In the Huddle with Joe Ham every single Wednesday right here on YouTube with the Stewart Media and Entertainment platform. We'll read a couple of messages before we jump into the NFL conversations, man. Let me get that music out of here, Jill. Give me 1 second, man. Again, quick reminder, sir. We could have stayed on college football a whole lot longer. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we did not cover. Shouts out to Marvin Childs, undefeated Heisman National Champion, says a lot. And if he gets the triple, the triple factor with the number 1 overall pick, it's going to say a lot about the validity of what's going on in Indiana. Mendoza played good football. Miami going 3 of 11 on third down conversions really hurt them. But yes, that did hurt Miami. However, we can't fault Indiana for that. DJ Chuck 4459 says, smart decision at Fly Tie. I don't think he wants to get overshadowed by his brother's success. I agree with that too. Mendoza staying where Mendoza is just leaving is going to put pressure on the Mendoza that's still there. You're not the size of your brother. You don't have the arm of your brother. You don't do things as fast as your brother. Let me get a clean slate and go someplace else.
Everything to your brother, which was undefeated, magnificent, Heisman Trophy. And although that's your brother and you want everything he's got coming his way and you love him, all the accolades, that's hard to live up to, man. And you know what? Are we going to expect that in Yellow Jacket Nation, Stu?
Right, we are. You're damn right we are. I said it earlier. You're bringing in a player that has the same blood of a Heisman Trophy winner. You're bringing in a player that has the same skill set of a Heisman Trophy winner. You're bringing in a player with the same blood of a guy that just dominated college football last season. Yeah, why not?
Yep.
My expectations are high for him. And it's
Fairly
not a me
unfairly.
situation. It's a him situation.
That's right.
Indiana bringing in another quarterback that is in the portal already. Yeah, Signetti mentioned that. It was going to be an open competition for his next quarterback. I want everybody to know that. Yeah. Ain't nobody got this spot. There's a lot of positions on this team that we're going to be looking for the next active starter, even though there may be a starter that stays on this roster right now. Let me see any more. Yeah,
that is why I have a little bit of pushback. Why I have a little bit of pushback, my brother. Okay. It's for the simple fact that Signetti and his staff really knows how to evaluate talent.
Yeah.
Really. And I'm not saying pushback, but a little bit of hold up a little bit is because if they evaluate Alberto Mendoza being that good and really good on the talent, they would do a little bit more to keep him home, in my opinion. So I don't know what happened. I'm just just guessing here, but that is my little bit of, why you let him walk out of the door with you guys' ability to scout talent and have all those things and put the guys in the right position to be successful. That's the only little if I got.
Shouts out to you, DJ Chuck 4459. We appreciate you, player. Ryan and Joe, what are your thoughts on Dylan Raiola? I believe that's what he says his name. Yeah. Transferring from Nebraska to Oregon. Raiola, who's got in the portal, and he's allegedly getting paid to come over there and transfer over to Oregon. He has to be sick to his stomach that Moore has decided to come back.
He has to be,
because there's no way that you're going to get a better opportunity to be our starter than the guy that started and took us to the college football playoff last year and more. There's no way. Give me your thoughts on that, Joe.
That is my thoughts, Stu. He got bamboozled. He got hoodwinked. He got led astray, so to speak, because all intentions that everything he's been hearing or he heard was that Dante Moore was going to leave. Because you don't go in the portal from Nebraska to Oregon to be a backup, right? And now this is just the sophomore in Dante Moore. What if Dante Moore feels and he puts his name in the hat again and it doesn't come back to his liking that he's not a first-round draft pick next year? Right. He can still come back. So I think he was making that move predicated on him, Dante Moore leaving.
In the huddle with Joe Ham.
You got to compete.
Say that again, Joe.
So guys, student athletes, when they travel, when they move, and they pick up and they go, put in your mind, if you don't have the the makeup of
the
competing,
moxie, the fight.
the fight of competing, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You better stay where you are and get a degree, and don't have to have that U-Haul truck move your stuff around, because there's going to be competition anywhere you go.
In the Huddle with Joe Ham, I am One Live Stu. Ryan Stewart will transition and move into the National Football League. An incredible weekend this past weekend. One game was a blowout. We may mention that game also. Seattle just smoked the 49ers. But we're not even going to get into that. We are going to talk about the divisional round. Joe, before talking about the divisional round is what I meant to say. My apologies. The Atlanta Falcons.
Yes, thank you.
Threw a curveball to the world, especially to fans in Atlanta, and especially to people that followed the Cleveland Browns football organization last year. Matt Ryan, the new president of football operations.
Don't say operations.
And the president. Matt Ryan, the president for the Atlanta Falcons, tricked me and you. I've spoken about it. You hadn't been afforded the opportunity yet, so I want to give you the platform to do so now. Joe, they hired the Browns' former head coach, Kevin Stefanski, to be the new head coach, not the offensive coordinator, to be the new head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Please share your thoughts about that hire, and then we'll dig a little bit deeper and share some choice comments about that.
Yeah, I'm taken aback, Stu. I'm taken aback because last week you and I talked extensively about this hire, Matt Ryan, and you gave your thoughts to me, and I give you my thoughts about the hire. And I was saying that Matt Ryan is the president of football, and he was going to be a consultant, and he was going to give his views on things, and he was not going to interrupt or be a guy that somebody had to answer to. He wasn't going to be all up in the business of how operations work on a day-to-day basis, including football, right? But they lied to me. And I was coming from the press conference that he had last Tuesday before we got on our show, Stu. And that's not what happened. Matt Ryan and just the Arthur Blank is the guys that interviewed Kevin Stefanski. Matt Ryan and Arthur Blank is the guy that's going to hire the new GM. It wasn't that they was going to run something by. I thought they were going to run things by Matt Ryan and see his 2 cents. Or what do you think about this? What's your gut feeling? That's not the case. Matt Ryan hired Kevin Stefanski. So I felt that I was lied to in that press conference that way he wouldn't have that much of say into it. Who else? You don't have anybody else in the building. Rich McKay got demoted, right? So it's not Mitch McKay. Greg Beadle, the president of operations, he's not in that meeting of hiring a new head coach. So it was Matt Ryan. And I don't like it. I don't like it as far as not even Stefanski, my brother. I'm not talking about that. I don't like it, the fact that Matt Ryan 3 weeks ago was in the booth. And all of a sudden now, I know he's smart and all those type of things, I give it to him. I'm going to give him his opportunity to succeed. But what about hiring in 3 weeks? You know how to hire a head coach? In 3 weeks, you know how to hire a GM?
You've done your due diligence while you had a full-time job with CBS this past season. So you were thinking about general managers, you were thinking about head coaches that would fit the Falcons prior to getting that job that you man, come on, man, cry me a river.
Cry me a river. And Stu, I hope I don't sound like I'm wish-washing or flipping from last week. Last week I had a stance that I didn't think Matt Ryan was going to be in a situation that he was going to hire folks the way he is now. All right. And so was Kevin Stefanski that hire Matt Ryan what you would like if you were quarterbacking? Amen. So hear me out for a second, Stu. Yeah, was Matt Ryan being a president of football, doing his due diligence that way? Or was he being number 2 in an Atlanta Falcons uniform, being the quarterback and saying, I would like that guy calling my plays because I like his offense? What do you know about who he's going to hire? What do you know about the defense he's going to bring? Do you know about the overall picture of what this guy is bringing to the table? You said he loves, you like Matt Ryan, I'm speaking of, the leadership qualities of Kevin Stefanski. The guy won 8 games. I don't care what happened to Odell Beckham Jr. I don't care what happened to Baker Mayfield when you won and went 8-5. And I do know, 11-5. I do know you're a 2-time coach of the year. I'm going to give you credit for that. The last 2 years, this guy's not a hot commodity. This guy does not move the needle in Atlanta. So the reason why I'm disgruntled right here, and I am disgruntled, not by the hire, Stu, about Matt Ryan making the hire.
Hey, man.
And I did not know he was going to make the hire. And oh, by the way, he's going to make the hire of GM, and we all know how that does not match up. And what I mean by does not match up,
you got your coach already. What, you got your coach already.
Thank you.
Well,
They're usually joint at the hips.
I'm not an I told you so kind of guy. But last week I lost it, and I told you that Matt Ryan has not exhibited the type of leadership that it's going to take for him to be in this position. If it was truly off the blank or Rich McKay that says, I want to bring in Kevin Stefanski and talk about him or with him about this head coaching job, it's Matt Ryan as the president's job to say, Kevin Stefanski, we can do better than that. That's his job. Mm-hmm. But I mentioned last week, he hasn't exhibited the leadership skills to show me that he'll have the testicles to do that with off the blank. At this point, I've got to think they're bringing him in just to be a yes man and have the title so they can woo some fans that are big or huge Matt Ryan fans. He hadn't shown me that he's going to be the guy to make the tough call or to tell Arthur no or to say, yeah, I hear y'all and I understand, but here's my thoughts about why this won't work, and here's how I've done the due diligence to show you who we should be looking at. He hasn't done that to date. So why has he got this job? First strike, first mistake, Matt Ryan. In the Huddle with Joe Ham.
I don't think it's a mistake yet, though. I don't know if it's a mistake yet.
In my eyes, it is a mistake, but you're right. There's no doubt that it could ultimately be a great hire for Matt Ryan and Arthur Blank. There's no doubt in my mind that Kevin Stefanski could step up and do a few of the right things to find a win, to win ball games. He is a two-time coach of the year, but terrible. You didn't show me no proficiency in your last 2 seasons to be awarded a fall up into this job.
A fall up.
You should have fell down and showed that you can still be a proficient offensive coordinator and quarterback coach to deserve an opportunity to get this job you fell up into.
To work your way back up. Excellent point, Stu. Hey, who does that?
Nobody.
I mean, who does that? No, I get it.
Default right here. They do that all the time. They fall up all the damn time. How you mismanage 8 different quarterbacks, how you mismanaged your locker room last year to show us you had the wrong guy in there all year until the end of the year, how you mismanaged all those situations and win 8 games in 2 years and fall up into this new job.
And I can understand John Harbaugh, although he didn't make the playoffs. I can understand I can't understand even Jeff Hafley. You
can understand Mike Tomlin getting the job. You can understand John Harbaugh getting the job.
Yeah.
But Stefanski?
No. Not an 8-26 in your last 2 years, and you got a really good job with the skill positions and the roster loaded.
You got
loaded. It's almost so. Again, it's the goody two shoes communication. Who you know and. He had to have a relationship, Matt Ryan, with Kevin Stefanski. This just doesn't make any sense as far as that quick, that guy off of that season. Come on, man.
Let me give you something to think about before we pay some bills here and come back here real briefly. We saw some terrible quarterback play in the divisional round.
Yes.
When we get back after we pay some bills, I simply want to know one thing. Were you surprised by all of the terrible quarterback play that we just saw last weekend in the National Football League? Y'all keep it locked. It's In the Huddle with Joe Hamilton. I'm One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. We're talking about very disgusting quarterback play after we play the Bills. Like and subscribe. We hear y'all. Needles, man, please. I retired from those when I hung up my cleats. Why get poked when you can snack your way slim? Brain IQ chews are all natural, taste great, and keep you in the game. Shots hurt, chews work. BrainIQ.com/REF/OneLiveStew. BrainIQHealth.com/REF/1LiveStew. Brain IQ Chews. Smarter than shots, stronger than excuses. In the Huddle with Joe Ham, I'm One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart. Every single Wednesday, you can find us here at noon. Like, subscribe to the show. And don't forget, on Mondays and Thursdays, the Two Live Stews experience goes down right here on the same platform, Stewart Media and Entertainment, at 7 a.m. on Monday and Thursday. If you can't catch us live tomorrow, it's okay. Okay? As a matter of fact, Joe's going to be filling in tomorrow because your boy's going to be out. Okay? You're going to get to enjoy Doug and Joe tomorrow for the Two Live Stews experience. Some real bad football play this past weekend, Joe. A couple of incredible defensive teams that didn't get any help by their quarterbacks. Some of them found a way to win. Some of them found ways to lose. Please share your thoughts on the quarterback play that we saw this past weekend.
Stu, I know you're going to get a chuckle out of this, or you're going to be real interested in this because you very seldom hear me rip QBs, man. I don't do it. I try not to do it. I try to do it in a way that I uplift them and not make them look bad. But what Josh Allen did this weekend and how he performed literally got his coach fired. Literally got his coach fired. Joe, you're being a little too harsh. No, I'm not. Because, listen, it wasn't expected out of Josh Allen. Josh Allen does not do what he did this past Sunday in the playoffs. Saturday, excuse me. He does not do it. A matter of fact, he set a record for not turning the ball over in his previous 6 postseason games. Yep. It was an anomaly. But when you make egregious mistakes like he made before the half, carrying the church's money like a loaf of bread and giving Denver 3 points before the half, inexcusable. Right. Well, the 2 plays before the interception that was questionable, and you can have your opinions on the interception, whether it's a catch or not. Right. I thought it was an interception. But 2 plays before that, he missed a tight end on a short hop that he didn't have pressure that could have moved the chains. Right. Right before overtime, and when they had to kick the field goal, he missed his tight end wide open at the 10-yard line. Those are plays that I expect Josh Allen to make. He's got to make those plays. So the interceptions, the playing with house money, so to speak, being heroic, trying to be Superman and do it all, cost his team the ball game. Yeah. And there's no excuses. And I feel a little bit bad for him when you see a guy cry on the sideline, a guy cry in the presser. He cried because the season was over, yes. He cried because they put in all they could possibly put in for 17 games in the preseason, offseason workouts. I understand that, Stu. Yes, and yes. But that wasn't your best. Right. It's one thing about being at your best when it counts and then making some just physical mistakes. Those weren't physical mistakes, my brother.
Quick comment, and please remember what you were about to say. In the past, in the postseason, Josh Allen has been the reason why his team should have won.
Yes.
In the past, in the postseason, the pieces around Josh Allen showed or proved that they set Josh Allen back when it came to being the difference maker that he could have been.
That's right. More particularly the defense.
In this past weekend's game, the 4 turnovers that he had showed to be the reason why a team that backed into the playoffs injury. I mean, they were beat up with injuries.
Yes, they were.
Didn't have the top 3 receivers, missing the O-line. They were beat up. But Josh Allen showed us that with the 4 turnovers that he was behind, he was why they lost. Yeah. That's why he was crying at the podium this past weekend, because when he looked in the mirror, he was the reason why his team didn't get a chance to play in the AFC Championship. It was you, Josh Allen. It was your fault.
Yeah. And it's so easy. He did pat his chest, and we all want that when you acknowledge that I didn't play my best and I probably left some plays out there, which he did. However, Stu, this is some food for thought. I want you to digest a little bit because it's a fine line. Because Josh Allen was the reason why they lost that game, in my opinion. And Josh Allen was the reason why they went into overtime too. So it's touchy. So I'm not contradicting myself. If without Josh Allen and his 4 turnovers and some of the plays he did make, they weren't going to go into overtime. If you get what I'm saying. So he had to make some plays as well. His prowess and his greatness had him almost overcoming that 4 turnover kind of output that he gave out. So, but that's not to excuse what happened. That game was solely on the shoulders of Josh Allen and his inability to make a play down the stretch and not protecting the football in a game where his defense played pretty good. And we don't want to talk about the pass interferences and some of the calls that were or were not made. We're talking exactly just about Josh Allen and what he did. Now, go ahead.
Crazy stat before we move forward. Prior to last weekend's divisional round in the postseason, teams that had 3 turnovers or more in a divisional round, they were 1-85 when it came to getting victories.
Whoa.
Teams in the divisional round of the playoffs that had 3 turnovers or more were 1-85 prior to last weekend. Now, thanks to last weekend, teams that had 3 turnovers or more in the divisional round are now 1-87. Thanks to C.J. Stroud and thanks to Caleb Williams. C.J. Stroud struggled mightily in the Texans' 28-16 loss to New England, throwing 4 interceptions in the first half alone. One of those interceptions was returned for a touchdown. Across 2 playoff games, and I'm harping on this because we talked about C.J. Stroud specifically last week.
Didn't we?
Across 2 playoff games, he ended up with 5 interceptions and 5 fumbles, making an unwanted NFL history for turnovers in a single postseason with 10. His poor decision-making, his turnovers overshadowed an otherwise strong defensive team and an offense that never gained traction. And despite having 10 turnovers in 2 games in one single playoff round, the Texans defense still had opportunities for him to come out victorious. I bring this up because last week I told you, and you somewhat agreed, but told me don't ever say never. You told me that. Last weekend I talked about how there's no way after the terrible game he had in the wild card weekend preceding the divisional rounds, there's no way C.J. Stroud will play as bad as he did to set that Texan defense and team back again. I said, Joe, there's no way. And you said,
Thank you.
Don't say that.
Thank you.
But I do agree somewhat that he can't possibly play as bad as he did in the wild card weekend. Joe, do you believe what we saw in the divisional round from C.J. Stroud last weekend?
Not that bad, Stu. Not that bad, my friend. Not that bad. I remember specifically us talking about it. And the reason why I picked the Patriots because I didn't think that C.J. Stroud was going to get over it. I thought that he was going to be able to minimize the turnovers a little bit, but not get over it. And that's football. What he showed the world is football malpractice, quarterback malpractice, Stu. And I'm not saying this lightly. When you spend a whole week, like the coaching staff and his head coach spent after you had a turnover fest or turnover feast against the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's all they talked about is ball security. All they talked about was, hey, you got a defense that all you have to do is reserve the right to punt. Make sure you end each drive with a kick. Either it's a field goal or a punt.
Last week. You said that last week.
Yeah, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine. But this guy looked like a shell of himself. This guy was wide-eyed. This guy was antsy, jitterish, looking at the rush,
do.
and throwing the ball. And I'll take one back if you want me to. The ball that was through the guy's hand a little bit high. If you want to say that was on the receiver, I'll give you that. So cool. You threw one behind the guy. You had one where we had a boot waggle that you got to chalk up to the defensive end that he stayed home and he pressured you. Eat that or throw it at the feet of a wide receiver, but you've played too many football games to have those type of mistakes. Another call we had on 1st and 10, where we called a shot play. I remember from Coach Friesian always said to us, or said to me specifically, just because I called 989, which is a go route on the outside, a post route in the middle, and a go route on the other side, that means we're going to take a shot. If it's not there, reset your feet, find the check down to where I can be in 2nd and 8. Because I'm calling that play on 1st down.
Very
and
good,
here
Joe.
is
For the record, Joe, I like when you take us in the huddle like that. The show is called In the Huddle with Joe Ham. I like when you take us in the huddle like that and bring us in situational football. Thank you for doing that because it's very insightful for the listeners that don't quite understand the X's and O's to the depth that we do, or even bigger than me, to the depth that a quarterback such as yourself does. Please continue.
Yeah, and matter of fact, Stu, they had everything they wanted. Our call was turn 44, 989. And the turn part about it was a play action. We're going to fake the 44 slant, and then we're going to set up, and normally they're going to bite up, and we're going to take a shot. Normally that's when you're on your plus side of the territory, and they're not expecting it. That's what the coach called for C.J. Stroud. And C.J. Stroud forced it. And here it is, not 3rd down, not 4th down. You threw an interception on 1st down. So that's 3 more downs that you were awarded, or you should have been awarded to the offense that you didn't have. So those mistakes were irresponsible. And DeMeco Ryans made a decision at halftime.
Ooh, I was just about to take you there. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
That I'm not quite sure that many coaches would have made. I don't think you remember now, Coach Nick Saban benched Jalen Hurts in a national championship game when they scored 0 points at halftime, and he didn't think about it. He said, I'm not going to give you one more series.
No way.
It ain't no, I've seen enough from you.
That's right.
Hey,
we're done here.
Let's get the backup, warm the backup up, and keep in mind, Davis Mills, who's the backup quarterback for the Texans, he went 3-0.
Yeah.
He went 3-0 playing solid football, not turning the ball over, not putting the ball in harm's way, playing efficient, almost what, quarterbacks
When
think
you
is
got
a
a defense like that, I don't need you to come in here and throw for 350. I need you to manage the game. Don't give it to the other team in every series, kicking the ball, like you mentioned, punt and or field goal, and letting your defense cook. I don't need you doing much when you got a defense like that, Joe.
And that's the problem I see in C.J. Stroud right now. He thinks he is the superstar of that team, and he's not. He's still resting on rookie of the year. He's digressed since. He's had that coordinator fired. All right, and now his fundamentals, and he doesn't know how to take 1 or 2 yards right now. He's not comfortable with not being the man.
He don't know how to eat a sack. He don't know how to eat a damn sack. It's okay with the defense you got. Don't make it a 12-yard loss. Let's take this 4 to 6-yard loss, punt the ball, and let the defense come back and get us the ball back, which they did the entire freaking game.
And I can't make an excuse for him that he's young and inexperienced. This is his 3rd year. This is his 3rd playoff run. So he's been in games like this before that you can't lean on your defense. So now this offseason, Stu, he's going to have some very, very thick skin because you and I, other radio hosts, other analysts, his boys in the locker room, his Ohio State boys, his family members, they saw this.
Yeah.
They saw you act like you don't know how to play quarterback position and we know better. Yeah. So with that being said, Stu, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Some of these young quarterbacks has passed him by. I mean, Drake May just beat him.
Right.
Now, so I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment. He did win Rookie of the Year. And if I'm being too harsh, Stu, please calm me down with it because I'm not trying to be too harsh. But the way he's regressed and not take care of the football and look like I don't belong or I'm scared, I just didn't like it. And it may be because of the concussion. We don't know.
Turnovers are killers in the playoff, especially when it's coupled with stalled drives and negative possessions. A quarterback who can't protect the football puts enormous pressure not just on the defense that he's got, it puts enormous pressure on the rest of the entire football team. Joe, after the season he had, after the game he had in the wild card series, if I'm DeMeco Ryans, there is no way in the hell I'm allowing him after halftime to come back out there and lose no game for me. Especially as you mentioned, Mills, his backup, went like he won 5 games this past season while CJ was out.
Oh, good.
There's no way I would have allowed him to come out and be the starter. He looked like a deer in headlights. Do you agree with DeMeco Ryans allowing that guy to play the entire second half, or would you have made a switch also?
I would have to make a switch because of what you just alluded to. Not that I'm making a switch and going to Jarrett Stidham, and we'll talk about that. Jarrett Stidham hadn't thrown a pass this entire season. Right. So that's another thing. You hadn't seen what he could do as a backup.
Stidham hadn't thrown a pass since 2023.
Whoa.
Not in a game.
Yeah,
I believe my research tells me that.
Oh my God. So that's a different situation. So you go into a backup that's really not in regular season form. The speed of the game is not there. But Davis Mills came in. He was a part of that 10-game winning streak. Yeah. Remember, the Texans were on a 10-game winning streak with Davis Mills just playing fundamentally sound football, making sure that I'm going to take it when it's there. If it's not there, I'm not going to force it because why? I have an all-world top 2 defense. Yeah. Yes, I would have made that move. And I know about a quarterback being fragile. I know about the mindset of C.J. Stroud going forward that you might, kill that spirit. But that's something I would have to deal with in the offseason, which he's dealing with now anyway. But I have to do what's best for my team to win a ball game. And although he didn't turn it over in the second half, it was a little bit too late. He didn't have the confidence to go out there and say, we're in this ball game. Let me make a few plays. Yep. No way. And that's a different line. That's the fine line between quarterback play. Because when you look at Caleb Williams in the Los Angeles Rams game, you might say, and everybody else might say, whoa, did you see that pass 55 yards in the air off the back foot, almost like a fadeaway jump shot? I've never seen anything like that before. I haven't either.
It was amazing.
However, just like I alluded to it earlier, was he the reason why they were in some of those situations?
Yeah.
You threw a pick in the cover 2 to where nobody was in the flat early in the second half that cost. I'm not gonna blame you for the interception when you went for it on 4th down on the first drive of the game. Some of these coaches now, I don't know about the points and the field goal kickers where they're allergic to just taking points. I don't know. But that first interception was on 4th down, way deep in the red zone, so we can treat that just like a punt. The second one you threw in the double coverage and the sinking cover 2 cornerback, that was a force. The last one you threw, whether DJ Moore should have crossed the face of the quarterback or the cornerback or
he needed to cut that route off more, and he needed to bust his behind to get across that field to get to that ball. He looped that route off and made that route longer than it needed to be, and he did not bust his butt on that entire play to get to that damn ball, receiver DJ Moore.
Yeah, Stu, that's questionable. And I totally respect you and your way of seeing things like that. That guy probably had a pylon post or a pylon flag, and he didn't see it as a cutoff route in front of the guy because of his job was just to run that guy off. Sometimes you're not a primary guy in a route, and you're supposed just to run him off, and that's why he didn't cross the face. But what I do know, you could be right, Stu, and I could be wrong, but what I do know, it was a miscommunication. No question. And what else I do know, it was second down.
Yep.
It wasn't a desperate situation where you had to force that football.
Right. You got 2 more plays.
You got 2 more plays.
If necessary.
So that's where it goes back to quarterback decision-making, and that is an up-and-coming player. That is a guy that's only his second playoff start in Caleb Williams. He's going to be fantastic. That's why it's such a fine line when we blame quarterbacks and give them all the glory when they make plays and give them all the angst when they don't or when they lose. They deserve it all. Right. So that's why it's the most important position. But I would not say Caleb Williams is on the level of what Josh Allen and C.J. Stroud showed me this weekend. He was fighting. He showed moxie and guts. He put those guys on his back. He's got that city of Chicago fuming or in chaos about what the future holds. So it's a little bit different when the guy in his first year of going to the playoffs, and then C.J. Stroud with his third year going to the playoffs, and then Josh Allen with it's all experience in the world.
In the Huddle with Joe Hamilton, I am One Life Stu Ryan Stewart. Please remember to like and subscribe to today's show. We've got like 2 more topics to spend some time with y'all on, and then we'll let y'all get out of here. Thank y'all very much. We really appreciate y'all being here. We appreciate the comments. I'll try to get to more of those here lately. Before we move away from the bad quarterback play, and Caleb did have bad quarterback play because he threw 3 interceptions. Even though he threw 3 interceptions, Joe, I don't blame the loss on him. Last week we came on here and we got a chuckle and some good conversation out of me crashing out during the wild card round on how Ben Johnson managed the game in that first half versus
the Packers.
Joe, Ben Johnson in the elk of Dan Campbell has to realize that he can no longer keep doing what he did in that game in that first half. He passed up on 6 points in that first half, going forward on 4th and 3 one time down in the red zone, or 4th and 2 another time down in the end zone. And then at the end of the game, after Caleb makes a heroic throw to get them in a position to, if he goes for 2, they've got the momentum, and the other team is now destitute and downtrodden and hanging their heads. If he does go for 2, that's a perfect opportunity for him to do so. He can't take those points off the board like he did in the first half for his team against a good team like the Rams. He can't take those points off the board, and then when his team turns around and loses by 3 points, we blame it on Caleb's 3 interceptions. No. If the coach takes those points in the first half, you've got an entirely different ball game being played in the second half by the Rams. If the coach takes those points in the first half, which would have been 6 more points ultimately, you've got a team in Chicago, the Chicago Bears, in the second half that doesn't have quite the pressure to have a 9th comeback in one season to win a game, a 9th comeback in the 4th quarter. Ben Johnson, in my humble opinion, is why they lost that damn ball game and why they had to struggle all year to have forced comebacks, because he passed up on points all season long. Before we move forward, your thoughts on that, please.
No disagreement with that at all, Stuart. And what I didn't like is that you changed up on me. You changed up on me during the game, because there is no way you don't go for 2 points when Caleb Williams made that heroic pass. If you do that, see, when I say he changed up on me, Stu, I'm talking about if you're a riverboat gambler, be a riverboat gambler. If you're going to go for those 2 point, those 4th down conversions like you alluded to, why don't you have a play drawn up to go for that 2-point conversion? But I know, and I heard what he said, and I respect what he said, that we didn't have anything that we felt comfortable with going for the 2-point conversion. And remember, the drive right before that, they were inside the 5-yard line with 4 downs, and they did not get it. So maybe that was in his head when they went for it, and that they didn't quite feel comfortable with a 2-point play, which is hard to get. But you're an offensive coordinator, a genius, what some people would say, and I think you have done a very good job in your first year.
I love him. I love him. I love him. This, I love him.
Yes. So you're not a conservative coach. And you weren't conservative in that ball game. All of a sudden, with the momentum and that stadium going wild, you decided to be conservative. And I wouldn't say that cost you the game, because the defense did get a stop in overtime, and y'all did have a chance to win it. But all those little things add up. What are you trying to portray? Are we going to always be the aggressor? Or sometimes we're going to fall back and be, have things happen to us. So that is right, and I cannot disagree with that, Stu, at all. I will not lie that at the feet of Caleb Williams. More so, I will lie at the feet of Ben Johnson, the head coach.
Before we move on, it is In the Huddle with Joe Ham. I am One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart. If you're a leader in that locker room, if you're a franchise player in that locker room, Do you talk to Ben Johnson about that in an open forum in front of the entire team after that game? Do you wait and have a conversation with him one-on-one in his meeting room after he addresses the team? If you're a leader or one of the players on that team that may not be on the roster next year, that won't be afforded the opportunity to go into the NFC Championship ball game, do you pull Coach to the side like, hey, man, what the hell was that? Or is that par for the course, just something you got to deal with and eat because he is the one that's running that program?
No, it's not par for the course, but Stu, it does not happen on that night. It does not happen right then. No way, Jose. I don't care if you Caleb Williams. I don't care if you're a Grady Jarrett on the defensive line, a 10, 11-year vet. I don't care if you Brisker, who's a safety that had an outstanding game. You don't do that there. And you don't probably do that in front of anybody. When you do it, is you do it in your exit meeting. You do it when you have a chance to watch that film, and you might do it in a jokingly way. Hey, oh, by the way, Coach, would you do that again? Hey, Coach. hey,
a little cross psychology.
Yes. You know, Coach, are you comfortable with the decision you made? Or have you thought about whether you would take it back, or do you have another play you might have gone with there? Because you don't want to be almost that you're second guessing him. Although you might be second guessing him, Stu, you don't want to come across that, hey, I would have done something different. Right. Because again, how many players that you know, how many locker rooms that you've been in, defense, offense, what have you, and you played both sides of the ball, I know for a fact, very good hands you had. How many players would have said, no, Coach, let's kick it? So everybody would say, let's go for it, especially the Monday morning quarterbacks or the Monday morning people that are, that decision doesn't come down to them. Right. That they don't have to, it's not on their shoulders to make that decision. So he was going to have to live with it. That's why he pays the big money. That's why he's the big dog on the block. But yeah, I think Caleb Williams in a meeting next year or even this offseason said, Coach, have you thought about that play, man? What would you have called if you had went for it? Something like that, Stu, but not challenging him in terms of you made a bad call.
Getting ready to wrap things up in the huddle with Joe Ham. I am One Life Stu Ryan Stewart. Please remember to like and subscribe to the platform and to the show. Please remember to pass the word to all of your friends and family that you may talk to let them know that the gift of the Two Life Stews is back. Pick the Super Bowl, Joe. We know who the Final Four teams are: Seahawks, Broncos, Rams, and I always do this when it comes to all the Patriots. The Final Four teams that's standing. Pick the Super Bowl, Joe.
Yeah, well, I'm a prisoner of the moment. I like what you've done in the past, and I like your pedigree and the resume, and I'm a big fan of been there, done that. And Sean McVay's been there, done that. His quarterback has been there, has been there and done that. So it's going to be tough with the Seattle Seahawks, but I am going with the Los Angeles Rams, going to Seattle, which is a division foe. That what about the wrinkles? What are you going to show these guys or somebody else in the third matchup that they hadn't seen yet because they have you scouted? Don't even look at this season, just the games this season. You have a history of 2 seasons worth of these two teams playing each other and the tendencies. So it's going to be all about the Jimmys and Joes. Who's going to make the plays? Who can physically one-on-one win their matchup? And I'm going with Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. Primarily, Stu, because I don't have all that much confidence still in Sam Darnold. And I know what he did the last time we saw him on prime time when they tied the game up. They scored a touchdown late. And instead of going for field goal, they went for 2, and he won a humongous game on national television. I just don't trust him quite yet. He might earn my trust this year or this particular game in championship Sunday. And I'm going to the Patriots. Yeah, go ahead.
I like the Seahawks.
Okay.
And I'm going to be an outlier because I talked about the Rams being the best team in the NFC that was remaining. I like the Seahawks because of their defense And I do think that Darnold's ready to get over the hump. I do think that Darnold learned something last year being in Minnesota, winning 14 games and then getting put out in the playoffs. I do think that Darnold's got a chip on his shoulder, and he wants to show everybody that after being drafted extremely high from the New York Jets 7-8 years ago, that he is the guy that the Jets had. They just didn't have the confidence in him to keep him around. I see this being a Seahawks and a Bronco game, even though Bo Nix will not be playing.
Come on.
I think Jarrett Stidham will get in there and find a way to win. He hasn't thrown a pass since 2023, but I am sticking my neck out and putting it on the table.
You got to explain to me why. Is it? And I'll give you a few options because I'm not. I don't know exactly how you think, but I think I know where you're going with this one. Is it because Drake May is a little bit loose in the playoff as well?
Drake May didn't show me that he was going to be the dog that he needs to be to advance to another round and play better. He didn't show me that.
Yeah, very loose with the ball in the pocket.
That's right.
And Denver possessed the same type of pass rush.
That's right.
Denver possessed a player.
They got a hellacious defense. They got a great secondary. They're going to smother people.
Yeah, former MVP or reigning MVP, defensive MVP, and Pat Surtain, senior. So
Sean Payton,
Jr.
Sean Payton has shown me that he knows how to win Super Bowls. Sean Payton has confidence in Stidham. Sean Payton renewed
what
Stidham's
confidence
contract.
Can he have? Hold on. What confidence can he have in Stidham? And you just told me he hadn't thrown the ball since 2023.
Right. He has boasted with the utmost of confidence, and he did it in the post-game presser after letting everybody know that Bo Nix was not even going to be able to play.
He's got to do that, Ryan Stewart.
And he said he's always had confidence in his number 2 quarterback in Stidham. He said he's ready for the challenge.
We have to. He's at hand now. He's going to have to. He's going to have to bolster that man's confidence a little bit. Stewart, this is not going into a preseason game.
I understand.
This is not a regular season game, week 8, week 12, week 15. This is championship Sunday.
It's the
Those Bullets are for real.
Yes. And he's got a team, and they're playing in that altitude. It is going to be in Denver. Defense hellacious. Coach that's been there and done that. And Stidham, a guy that he's thrown for 300 yards in a game. All he has to do, because of that defense, and we've talked about it a couple of times today, all Stidham has to do is come in there and not be a deer in headlights. Come in there and keep his composure. Come in there and don't turn the damn ball over.
While I agree with you, Stu, it's just not feasible, brother. And why is it not feasible? Because this is not a normal backup like Davis Mills. And why I think that he can do it and Sean Payton's going to coach him up well, this guy had not seen the speed of pass rush except practice all year.
Agreed.
There is the mix-up, and he's going to try to get it. And not only that, when is the last time he's been on the turf? When is the last time he's gotten hit and touched? We know it's not in practice. Those are the things I'm talking about. No, I know Sean Payton is going to have a game plan that's going to fit Stidham. He's going to have some steps or some things to say, don't do this. We're going to put this safe. Remember about our defense. I know that, but the speed of the game worries me. He hadn't had the speed of a game since 2023, brother.
It's a long time, Joe.
I'm going with the Patriots. I'm going with the Patriots just because even if he doesn't turn the ball over, he might be too safe with it. And if you're too safe, then you're going to have to ask your defense to score some points. You can't win if you don't score.
Which they can.
They can.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt seeing a pick six. I wouldn't doubt seeing a fumble recovery taken to the house. This defense is one of the best defenses in the league. There's no question about it.
That's correct, sir. That's correct. You're asking him a lot.
Before we get out of here, man, and mention basketball before leaving, I've had a busy day, had a long night. I'm not sure if there's been new coaching hires, but with 6 head coaching vacancies left, if I'm not mistaken, do you think we'll see a minority get an opportunity? How come we hadn't been hearing about this damn Rooney Rule? Give me your thoughts on that, Joe.
It's a problem, Stu, and I don't get into this often, but I'm going to get into it now. Where are the African-American head coaching candidates? Where's Brian Flores? And I understand that he's got a lawsuit against the NFL. That shouldn't matter. Where's Steve Wilkes? Where's the defensive coordinator name coming up with the Denver Broncos right now? Vance Joseph. Where's some of these guys coming up now to where all these vacancies? Now, what are you, man, how do I say this to be? I don't need to be.
Just say it.
Is Robert Salah considered an African-American coach? I know he's a minority coach.
Right. No, right. He is not an African-American coach, even though he is a minority. If we were to do a race draft and I was picking the team, I would select him as one of us on our side. However, he is
because
not.
we're searching. We want people on our side. But
I agree.
So there's 6 left, Stu. We're not even hearing any candidates. The Cardinals, the Bills, the Ravens, the Browns, Steelers, Raiders. Come on. Now the NFL has a chance now to, I don't want them to say you must hire this guy or you must hire that guy, but it doesn't seem to me like this Rooney Rule is getting it any better. Now it once was that we had more African-American head coaches or minority head coaches, but it's tapered off a little bit. So we got to speak more of it, man, because we got more guys in there coaching wide receivers, special teams, defense, offense. Where are those guys when it comes in terms of getting in the mix, getting interviews to be head coaches? Come on now. You got a chance. We have a chance to make it happen.
Wrapping it up in the huddle with Joe Ham. I am One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart. Like, subscribe to the show and to the platform. Make sure you catch the 2 Live Stews tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock right here, where Joe will be filling in for me as I'm going out of town to celebrate my wife's birthday. You know, got a birthday girl in the house. Very excited about getting away with it for a little while without the kids.
Happy birthday, JP.
I will share your sentiments, sir. In the world of the NBA, very, very lackluster performances. No real storylines to follow to date. Hopefully by the time that the Super Bowl is over, things will be more interesting and things will hit a stride. Not very entertaining to this point. Give me your thoughts on what's going on in the NBA, because you and I have been talking about it while watching games every single night when there's no football on. It just seems like there's no it factor right now in the National Basketball Association.
Yeah, we have to create it, Stu. I don't like creating, excitement about basketball. And now is not the time that we would have something on the rundown to say, hey, let's talk about Wembanyama and let's talk about the comeback that the Houston Rockets had last night.
Great game.
That would normally be, great game.
Great game.
But again, it's not the overall stat line. Are we missing a superstar as far as the face of the league? Now, I know there are superstars in the NBA. There are plenty, at least 5 of them, right? Mm-hmm. But are we missing a LeBron storyline? Are we missing a Steph Curry storyline? What about, it's not a big deal that, Jimmy Butler tore his ACL. So, hopefully he, speedy recovery. Is just not.
He's done.
It's just not fun right now. Yeah,
right.
He's done. He's not going to return to the same Jimmy Butler. It's just not fun right now. And those guys are not playing with the same enthusiasm I like for them to play. It's almost like they're coasting through this and waiting for after the All-Star break or teetering around. Will I be here? Will I get traded? Trey Young going to Washington didn't even move our needle.
Right. No, it didn't. And when losing doesn't hurt, I'm watching a Knicks team because I'm a Knicks fan. I watch those games every night.
Ooh, I can't wait to bring that up to you later on, man.
When losing doesn't hurt, it's like winning doesn't excite. Okay? And there's a hard truth, in my opinion, when it comes to what's going on in the NBA.
Say that again for me, Sue, please. I like it.
When losing doesn't hurt, referring to my Knicks, winning doesn't excite. It's like blah.
Yes.
One of the hard truths is very simple to me, in my opinion. You can't build storylines if your main characters keep disappearing. Cat Williams has just been like, this dude making $60 million. Cat Williams has just been like,
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson's been good, but he's not been good enough for us to find a way to not break a 9-10 game winning streak.
Yeah. It's almost like
everywhere. Talent is everywhere in this league, but the identity is not right now.
Man, you're preaching now, brother. God, you're preaching.
Buy into a roster if the roster feels temporary. We're talking about all these superstar players like Ja Morant, Ant-Man, and other superstars that teams may be moving.
Mm-hmm.
Fans want close games, late game drama, defensive pride, and not track meets every night. I want to see you when you're on a 1-on-4 fast break because you stole the ball, but they got 4 defenders back. I want to see you not pull up and take a 3 when you don't have nobody that can get a rebound. It's a 35, 36% shot. Why are you jacking it up and there's nobody that can rebound it for you if you miss?
LaMelo Ball, Stu. LaMelo Ball the other night, Stu, did a crossover where his defender stumbled and he had a clear path to the basket. And he did a James Harden steppity back to the 3-point line. To the 3-point line, my brother took a 3, yanked a 3. So that's what he's watching. It's almost, including your New York Knickerbockers, it's almost that I can't wait till the playoffs, and that's when I'm going to turn my switch on. It's almost like they're coasting. This is boring to them. And they don't see it as entertainment. And that is why you're going to turn a lot of NBA fans off, or not you and I, because we genuinely love sports and we're going to watch regardless.
We're going to watch.
How are you going to engage the new fans and show them it's more than just about money? Because, Stu, not to get long-winded, LeBron James he's missing his first All-Star game starting role in his back burner news. Right? I mean, this is huge. I mean, the All-Star game is about to come up next month, and the All-Star team starters, they were named yesterday, and it's almost, secondhand news, my man.
Right. I remember when Jordan, in a similar situation, was with the Washington Wizards, made the All-Star team, but he wasn't voted in to be a starter. Immediately, one of the starters in the East was like, I'll give him my spot. I think this might be his last hurrah. I'll give him my spot. It was a major topic of discussion. And as you just mentioned, sir,
I'll help you out, partner.
We hadn't even talked about LeBron not being a starter this year in the All-Star game.
I'll help you out, brother. That was Vince Carter.
It was Vince Carter. It was high-rising, half-in, half-amazing Vince Carter. I mean, the NBA is as talented as ever right now, Joe.
Yes, it is.
But it's less tension. Until the regular season truly matters and stars are playing consistently and there's rivals that are allowed to breathe, the league will keep feeling like it's just flat, and that's a problem.
That's a problem, brother. That's a problem. And I'm not feeling sorry for not bringing it up. I'm not feeling sorry. I'm just saying it's a little bit of, I don't like the feeling. That's all.
Right. Joe, do we know anything about college basketball right now? Because just as irrelevant as the NBA seems right now, it's the same thing right now in the world of college basketball. Please share your thoughts on that.
You and I are going to have to do our homework, and we're going to have to do a crash course before March Madness. All right, who's the number 1 team in the nation? It's Arizona. You know why I know it's Arizona? Because I keep on looking to see if Bryce James is going to play, which he's not playing. He's just going to get redshirted. Yeah. Who's the top 5 team? I don't know. I know about the UNC, North Carolina Tar Heels, because a player that played or Landmark Christian School played, Caleb Williams. He's a freshman there that I'm following. So I know about people because of the names, but come on, man. Come on. And I don't fault college basketball as much as I fought the NBA, but it's just these one-and-done guys. They don't stay long enough. You can't get attached to a certain team. And I think basketball is suffering from it. The totality of basketball is suffering from it, bro.
Yeah. Early season equals chemistry over quality. Most teams simply aren't finished products yet. They're trying to get finished as they get towards the end of the season and as they approach March. There's a new normal. January basketball is the real beginning of college basketball season. Even though it starts towards the end of the year, it just don't matter until right around this time. And that's a problem in my eyes. And the result of that is that there's less of a buzz now. And there's more chaos later once that tournament does start. I mean, sloppy offensive play right now and all these missed shots. It's ugly basketball, and that happens early, and we don't want to see that.
Don't want to see it. And so it makes me go to the point that if we're on this platform and we're talking later on in end of February, conference tournament, and also in March Madness, the NCAA tournament, somebody would be lying to if they were saying that I watched this team all year.
I agree.
Or I was following this team all year.
I
No,
agree.
come on now, because you and I, we love it. And we're trying to follow it, but it's just hard. It's just hard because, you remember Saturday basketball? What about Tuesday night? Even Tuesday night, you want to find good games, but you can't find good games or you can't follow it. So it's a problem, man. I'm a little discouraged.
The Duke Blue Devils used to be a villain in college basketball. Teams that like Duke vilified UNC. Without a clear villain or favorite, it's like sports gets quiet. I do believe this, man. March success is being built quietly right now, but I used to love the build up to March, and I just don't see much of that right now.
Can you imagine how we got to do our bracket? We got to guess our bracket.
You got to guess it.
We're going to have to guess it. We're going to have to guess it because
you're going to look at seeding to make a decision on who you like.
5-12,
right,
7-10. Some of those matchups where perennially you get an upset is how we're going to pick our bracket.
In November, when it comes to college basketball, we're still learning. In December, when it comes to college basketball, we're still sorting teams, trying to figure out who's going to do this and who is that. In January through February, we should see some separation in the better teams versus the worst teams and the teams that's going to ultimately be playing in March Madness. And when it comes to March, there should always be chaos.
Yes.
I don't know if we're seeing that right now, Joe.
Well, I'm not seeing anything right now because I'm trying to watch it, Stu, and it's just hard. It's been very, very tough, man. Very tough. But the chat is going to want it. Our listeners are going to want it soon. We're going to have to bring them to it, and so we're going to have to jump into it. But I just don't know when. But definitely when football is over, because that's reigns king in the offseason. And that's not good for the NBA because football is year-round. They're going to have the combine coming up soon. They're going to have free agency coming up soon in football. So what are they going to do? And baseball is going to be coming up soon as far as a report in the spring training with the catchers and the pitchers. So if basketball don't start to get their stuff or to get their ducks in a row, they're going to be in there the third best sport and the fourth best sport.
I'm going to call myself out because I've been very transparent. Got 3 kids over here. Very busy. Still a football head and it's still football season. So I hadn't dug in to literally do my due diligence when it comes to March Madness and who's doing what. Sir, I'm not ashamed to tell it. I'm going to be honest. Everybody listening to the show. We'll end with some chat messages here in a second. I forgot that Bronny James was even on the Arizona roster until you mentioned it just now.
You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You should not be ashamed. Hey, Stu, you want me to give you a quick update on Bryce James? LeBron James?
Not Bronny. I said
Bryce
Bronny.
James.
I meant Bryce. I forgot that Bryce James was on the roster in Arizona.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm
listening.
You want me to give you a quick update? Well, Arizona Wildcats, they're the number 1 team in the nation.
Yep.
All right. And Bryce James has not logged 1 single minute the entire season.
Wow.
And they've blown out quite a few teams. And it was because their coach said, I think maybe game 4 or 5, that he was in a developmental stage and that he was going to redshirt this year. And I'm not quite sure, and I'll do the research for next week. I don't know how that goes in basketball. I know in football that you can play 4 games and still get redshirted. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how many games or if you can play any games in college basketball and still get redshirted. But the plans are for Bryce James to get redshirted. So he hadn't played. You hadn't missed him at all.
Outstanding day to day, sir. Absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Shouts out to you, Tiffany in Poodle. Tiffany Poodles in Portland, 3305. Ready, Kev. Want y'all to change the subject. He said there's no such thing as a Super Bowl. Okay, Ready, Kev. I don't know what tree you smoking on right now, but there is such thing as a Super Bowl, and it's a big deal no matter who plays in it. Shouts out to Tiffany again. As my beloved Bear would say, he got some cut in him. Let's see. Here's the message that Ready, Kev mentioned that Tiffany may have been talking about. Sorry if my messages are screwed up. I'm trying to work out. Speak to text is horrible. Yeah, it is. Ryan is almost saying that because he put money on the Broncos, stop playing. Your head. You know, be doing the wages. Shouts out to DJ Chuck again, 44-59. All Jazz Stidham have to do is manage the football game. No turnovers, and the Broncos defense can do their job. And don't forget that the Broncos defense, as I mentioned to you, will find themselves in a position to possibly score. Ryan Stewart said the Ravens would beat the Chiefs this year. I don't remember saying that. Stop it. You don't remember that either. Pull the receipts on that.
That's a good pick going into the year, man. That's a good pick. Man, everything that happened this year is crazy. It's crazy.
Nobody saw the Final Four teams that's here right now.
Nobody.
I'll read one more. Raider Kev, shouts out to you, player. I too am a Raider. What up, sis? My Spurs are doing a great job and winning 3 or 4 of most games. We just have a problem closing these games out. Yeah, I saw somebody mention on some platform that they're disappointed that Wembanyama doesn't dunk the ball more. And my response was, you get 2 points for dunks, you get 2 points for layups, you get 2 points if you miss. If you make 2 free throws, you get 2 points for mid-range jumpers. Mid-range jumpers. You get 2. It doesn't matter how you get those points. Right. Are you mad about that double-double he's getting? Are you mad about the threes he hits? Leading the league in blocks? I don't want to hear it. I don't care how he gets his points. He's a bucket waiting to happen. Outstanding job, Joe, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man.
Outstanding job, man. And I really appreciate your efforts today.
My God, it was a hog heaven, brother. Hog heaven. And we didn't even get to Brandon Bean.
No.
When you get back home, when you get back and finish your due diligence and see why Sean McDermott was fired, and see what Brandon Bean said in his press conference this morning about the situation why Brandon Bean was promoted.
You got a minute or two if you want to share and get to that real quick. You got a minute
Yes.
or two.
Well, Brandon Bean is the general manager of the Buffalo Bills. And his owner, the owner of the Buffalo Bills, spoke this morning. And he's basically said, and we're talking about Keon Coleman, and that's the 33rd overall pick from the Buffalo Bills that did not perform. But he was telling us that Brandon Bean didn't want to draft him, that the coaching staff wanted to draft him, so that's not on Brandon Bean. He also said the reason why Sean McDermott was fired because it was Super Bowl or bust. How do you expect Brandon Bean to go forward with all those things being aired out like that and what he's talking about? How are you going to fire somebody and say Super Bowl or bust and leave Brandon Bean, the general manager, at hand? I don't understand it. And not only that, talking about Keon Coleman, that Brandon Bean, the general manager now, didn't want him. What do you expect him to be thinking? I know. Get me out of here. Is what he be thinking. And although he got some self-inflicted wounds of being on time and missing and sleeping in meetings, come on, man. Yeah. There is no way the owner. That's not the owner's place to be like
Terry Pacula is the owner of the Denver Broncos. He and his wife, new to ownership, a couple of years now. They were one of the reasons why. Well, I don't even want to get into all of that. I'm with you 100%. Did you see the firing coming? Did you think that Sean McDermott would be fired?
No. However, if that ownership said, just like the Baltimore Ravens ownership said, this year's Super Bowl or bust, I get it. But again, why is Bean still alive and promoted? Not just still, excuse me, the wrong use of word. Why does he still have a job and he got promoted?
I knew when you said alive, I knew exactly what you meant. Yeah.
I just didn't want to dig you, man.
He's still making decisions on behalf of this organization. Yeah, I don't get it, man. Everybody in the chat room, thank y'all so very much. Man. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for passing the word. Thank y'all for liking the show. Thank y'all for subscribing. We really appreciate you choosing to spend time with us. Please continue to pass the word. I'm giving y'all a huge round of applause. Thank you, chat. Thank you very much. Joe Ham, outstanding job. You get an A+ today, sir. Wonderful job, sir. I really appreciate it.
There were no field goals today.
No. Oh, no. I'm deeply saddened that college football is over and the NFL is coming to an end. I'm deeply saddened that the season was so amazing and we're about to have to move into basketball and not have football. But man, has it been good. Man, has it been good. It's been an outstanding season with you on In the Huddle with Joe Ham. Thank you for continuing to teach us all while we talk about it all, because your insight as a quarterback and as a Heisman Trophy runner-up, and as a guy that played in the league behind Peyton Manning, your insight is something that we just can't get anywhere. Thank you for taking us in the huddle, Joe. We really appreciate it.
No doubt about it, brother.
God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. If you don't know him or need to find him and show him love, make sure you're showing him love, because that's all he's showing you. We'll be back next Wednesday doing the same thing at the same time. Don't forget to log on. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to catch the 2 Live Stews tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. right here on Stewart Media and Entertainment on YouTube. We appreciate y'all. Thank y'all very much for being here.